All right, I wanted to take a little bit of time away from doing some hands-on work to just explain overall this real estate investment strategy called BRRRR. Now, you may have heard of this before, but it's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. And it's a great way and it's a long term investment strategy to be able to build up a solid foundation in real estate by leveraging the assets leveraging each of these assets to acquire more assets, right? It's just kind of this daisy chain effect. I keep leaning on the asset that that I rehabbed previously to put money into the next one. Now, let's hop into the numbers because I think it'll make a little bit more sense once I put the numbers in front of you. But if you're not familiar with the project, this is a project that I started working on in April of last year. That's when I started to submit to the Cook County Land Bank my application. And then eventually I was able to acquire this property from the Cook County Land Bank for $40,000. Now, that's a low purchase price. And the most important thing in any real estate deal is the purchase price. Now, I have these rehab costs of $186,000. Now, first, how did I kind of figure that out? Well, first I had the opportunity to go through, get an initial understanding of how much I thought it would cost. And my initial assessment was $160,000. And then once I get it to go line item by line item, I realized that it actually did come out to closer to $186,000. Now, each of these line items that have green in column H has been paid off already. So at this point, there's been a total investment of 86,000, right? So there's still another 100 to go, right? Now, that's the rehab cost. And then we have this after repair value. Now, how can you figure out how much a house will be worth after it's repaired? Well, what I did initially was get a BPO, which is a broker price opinion, which gave me a breakdown of all of the comparable homes in the area, the sales that have happened recently, and some of the things that are actually on the market now. And then I do my own research on Zillow and really form a good opinion of that. Now, I think this after repair value from a appraisal standpoint is actually low. I think it'll appraise for higher than that, which will allow for me to actually take more money out from the house. So my hope is that it appraises as high as possible, because then we look at this component of it. Now, we look at how much was financed to be able to do this. When I say hard money, some of it is from a private hard money lender, but some of it is from Menards. Some of it is from Home Depot or Lowe's or contract houses that extend you a line of credits to your business. So if you wrap all of that into this loan amount, then you'll kind of get how much you'll be paying to service that debt over the long term. Now, my plan is to, with the mortgage that I move into, so this is the initial hard money that you're holding for 4 months. Now, you don't plan on holding that for a long period of time. What you eventually want to do is to get a mortgage originated on that property to be able to pay back all of these costs and to have a serviceable standard mortgage that your tenant will then pay for you month after month. Now, I'm putting this at $210 because I actually want to get $210,000 out of this home after. Now, I will have only actually asked for $186,000, right? So I only really need to pay back this $186,000. Some of that was mine. The $40K I actually paid in a home equity line of credit, so I would just put that money back. But at the end of it, I want to take out $210,000. So let's just kind of keep that in mind there. But during this period of time here, I'm really only holding a bag of, I'd say no more than 90K or so. So let me just give you a feel for that. So the monthly payment is really closer to $1,000 a month. So you're holding an extra if you add up all of the debts that you kind of take on, you're holding an extra $1,500 to $2,000 a month to be able to get this over the hump, and then you'll kind of service it down into a new mortgage. I hope that makes sense. I was a little long-winded on it, but I wanted to kind of help you understand why I'm setting the scenario up like this to have 210,000, right? Now, the other question is, how much can you get per month? Well, it's a single family home, and there are 3 units renting in the area for anywhere from 2,000 to 24. So I'm surmising that I can get about 2,200 for it. And then these are the hard costs that come along with owning a home. Now, if I just go into the summary page, let me hide this just to not confuse things. But you have the ability to pay for all of these things outright with a 25% down. But what about a scenario where you only have to have 35K up front, right? This is the scenario that I'm kind of explaining to you that I'm going through, right? I put 35K up, but, overall, this would have been 186 plus the 40. So you're really looking at like 226 overall, right? But of that 226, 34 of it was my own bread, right? But you're taking out a mortgage on this $300,000 asset, and that mortgage is going to be about $210,000, and it leaves you $85K of new equity in this home, right? So when you do decide to sell, there's equity still there for you, right? And you would expect for this number to continue to go up as the area goes up, right? This is how much you make after rental income. So you're at like 26,000, right? And then you take out all of the cost, including that mortgage that you have to service monthly, and you're left with about, call it $200 a month in cash flow, right? And that, allows for you to now have a $300,000 asset with only putting about 35K down, right? Now, you're taking on debt in this scenario, but it's good debt. And it's debt that gives you an additional $85,000 in net wealth, right? Like that asset, $300,000 is the asset, right? Now, this scenario looks a lot different if you put more of your money up. So imagine a scenario where you put up, you putting up 50K, then you're getting like 10, call it almost, $800 a month from it, right? So the goal is take on the hard money lending to help you finish up getting this asset built up, right? Get it to 300,000. And then you take a mortgage out on this new asset, you originate a mortgage, and you pay back everyone that helped give you money during the renovation phase. And then you just service that mortgage through renting your property out to a tenant. And that is the basic components of the BRRRR method and where I'm headed.